Our clinical research department is quite small, but we do have several protocols that we're handling. There are only 5 of us, 3 study coordinators and 1 regulatory, and of course I'm the senior director of the clinical research. I normally bring in all the studies. We get studies from sponsors. The sponsors are also known as the pharmaceutical company or biotech company. So they usually give us grants to study on their medication, whether they're going to be working for patient population or not. We have several clinical trials going on at this time, such as one for diabetes, one for obesity, and also we have one for gout arthritis. And we have also cancer screening going on, such as for lung cancer, colon cancer, and breast cancer. We do have also several trials for infectious diseases such as hepatitis, HIV, and sexually transmitted diseases. We also have a smoking cessation program, which is well appreciated by our patients because it's very difficult for them to get into that program. We're number one for recruiter for a lot of the studies. Yeah, we would have gotten that status even in the past. Also, 2 years ago, we also got that status. When your name had been known by the research world, they tend to come back to you as often as they can because they know that you bring in quality patients and quality work as well. We would want them to first register online. We have a website which show you since research is purely voluntary, so you need to put your information in the website, and then once we get all the information from you, then we will contact the patient, and over the phone we do a pre-screening and get their medical history, basically to see, depending on the exclusion criteria of the protocol, we would go down the list if they would qualify. Of course, we tell them the whole process. Most often, actually, we have a pre-screening period also because we give them 20 to 30 page of informed consent to review, and sometimes you don't have time or time to review it. So we would send them a copy of it, and then they can discuss with their family or with their lawyers or whoever they want to discuss whether they want to be in the clinical trial or not. And after they make their decision, so by the time they come to the first visit, they already know, and if they have any questions, we can answer all the questions that they may have. And even if they sign on the first day, and if they decide they change their mind the second day or whenever they decide, they can continue with the participation in the clinical trial, they can always tell us that they will not participate anymore, so that we can bridge their treatment for standard of care. Because of course we want them to continue with their treatment in no matter where they want to continue it, but we want them to still continue with the kind of treatment that's best for them, that will be beneficial for them. And with clinical research, they're usually provided free medication, all the laboratory, EKG, if there's any ultrasound that needs to be done, any diagnostic procedures that needs to be done, these are all subsidized by the sponsor. They get active participation in their treatment plan because we give them all the information as what needs to be done on a regular basis. They come in regularly on a monthly basis or every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, whatever the protocol would say. And then they, like what I said, they are actively involved in their treatment. And of course, they also get a stipend for their time in travel, so that we can help them with, if they have problems with daycare or transportation or anything of that sort. They usually provided a stipend for that. The first objective of the treatment plan is the patient's safety. We want to make sure that the patient is safe. If there's any abnormality in their lab work, any abnormality, if they have any side effect, anything of that sort, they are closely monitored so that there's no, we want to make sure that they're safe and there's no problem with their participation in the clinical trial. The beauty of being in a clinical trial, most often we do resistant testing. It's quite an expensive and extensive blood test that we would test the patients. We test the individual's blood work, and it would show whether the patient has some transmitted resistance, and that would make our treatment a better way, because we will not, of course you can't be giving a patient the drug that if the patient has resistance to that drug, there's no point in giving that drug to this individual. So normally the patient would screen fail for that particular protocol, and we would advise the patient to seek other medical kind of treatment, and they would switch around the medication. Therefore, that makes it safer for the patient. At the same time, it will be very beneficial for the patient, because it will definitely, this drug will work for him, because this one, at least he hasn't tried it, and most likely he's not resistant to it, compared to the ones that we have already shown that he's resistant to a certain drug.
At St. Hope, you're more than just a number.